It's time for Pot of the Dead. Join us!
Hello and welcome to Pot of the Dead, the internet horror film club that nobody asked for. I am your humble curator this month, Natasha.
And I am your final girl, Nicholas. On today's episode, we are covering the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003.
The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon
Is anybody home?
became a nightmare.
What's wrong with you people?
The events of that day were one of the most bizarre crimes of American history. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Rated R.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003 is an American slasher film directed by Marcus Nispel in his directorial debut. The plot follows a group of, like the thing said, a group of young adults traveling through rural Texas who encounter the one and only Leatherface and his murderous family. This one is a remake of Tobe Hooper's 1974 film by the same name. And this is the 5th installment of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, which I did not realize at the time.
You got the original. You got
Yep.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 that came out in the 80s. You've got 3, which I believe is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface. You've got 4, which is The Next Generation, which has Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, boy.
And then this. So,
All right. Which takes you all the way back to the original.
yeah, this is like just trying to jumpstart and this was like of that era, right? 2003, like the Dark House or Dark Castle films that we've done kind of jump-started the whole remake boom in the late 90s and everything. And then this is, I don't want to say peak of remakes in the sense of that this movie is the peak, but the time is like where we're in the peak. You know, you're getting the Friday the 13th remake a year or two later, which was directed by the same guy and everything. So like definitely in the throes of remake central.
Remake Central. I gotta say, this is my favorite remake. I've never seen the original.
This is your favorite remake ever?
This is my, well, I take that back. I don't know. Possibly. This is my favorite version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I've
Really?
seen. Like, this is my version.
Okay, this is the one you grew up on. Did you see this one first?
Yes.
Oh, okay, this
I
is
saw this one first. Like I said, I haven't seen the 74 one because
You've
this
never
one,
seen the original one?
I haven't.
Oh my
Because
God.
Why? Why bother?
Because it's so much better. It's
But it's from the 70s.
Yeah, but it's so much better. So much better. There's no like over the top musical score the whole time and everything. And
There's something about this one that just this is a comfort watch.
I was gonna say
for me.
I can understand like the nostalgia and all that.
Mhm.
Like my history with this film is I actually saw this in theaters on a date in high school.
Ooh.
I took a girl to go see this. I don't believe that there were many dates after. But yeah, like so 2003, that would have been like my junior year,
Mhm.
or depending. Well, no, this came out in October. This would have been my senior year because I graduated the next spring. So how did you come about seeing this as like young Natasha not being a horror person and then seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003?
Oh, I didn't watch this in middle school. No,
Oh.
I watched this like in college,
Okay.
adulthood, definitely.
Okay. I was wondering. I was just like, I can't imagine you seeing the title of this film being like, you
Let's
know
do
what?
it.
This seems like it might be a Harry Potter film.
Yeah, I think I would have been in what, eighth grade, seventh grade.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Harry Potter and the Chamber of the Massacre, you know?
Yeah, definitely not my speed when it originally came out, but I've grown to love it
Okay.
a lot.
So 2003, this came out 29 years after the original.
Mhm.
What do you think its budget was? Now, mind you, this was produced by Michael Bay from
Oh,
Transformers, from Bad Boys.
man. It makes sense with all of the throwing of the chainsaw. And get it now.
So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, like
Oh.
literally, like, yeah, like this was, I believe, his first, I think it's Silver Dunes or something like that. It's his production company. This was one of their early ones, if not their first one that they did.
20 million.
20 million. So 2003, it was 9.5 million, which was 100 times the original's budget.
Oh, shit.
Yes. I believe the original was made for like $140,000.
Wow.
And on its meager $9.5 million budget, what do you think it brought in at the box office?
You said this came out in October?
I do believe so, yes.
This had to have been like a box office hit. We're going to go with like 18 million.
It made $107.4 million.
Oh, wow. So it was a box office smash. My
Absolutely.
logic was just wrong.
It
That's
was
awesome.
it was the second highest grossing horror film for 2003. Only being beaten out by Freddy versus Jason by $2 million.
Wow.
So for 2003, to kind of give you a little, taste of what we've got here, because we haven't really touched our toes in this era very often. But you've got Wrong Turn, Cabin Fever, Darkness Falls, Dreamcatcher, Jeepers Creepers 2, 28 Days Later, Final Destination 2, Gothica, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Freddy vs. Jason.
All right.
So definitely, like, watching this last night, I was like, this feels like high school. This, like, the color grading in this is like everything's got like a green hue to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they do that to try and like make it seem grosser or something, right? A little grimier. But that's one thing about this film that just, you haven't seen the original one, which completely blows my mind. That film is so much grosser and grimier and all that stuff than this film, with almost no blood. That movie has almost no blood in it, but it's so much filthier and just grosser.
Wow.
And then this one being 2003, it's like, well, like, we've got all the bells and whistles, but it loses that like legitimate like grindhouse fucking underground gnarly kind of feel that the original one does, and just puts a nice Seventh Heaven smearing of paint on it.
Whoa.
And a super big metal soundtrack that is not even really shown in the film at all. I was really blown away by that. The soundtrack that came out for this had songs by the bands Pantera, Hatebreed, Soil, Static X, Mushroom Head, Seether, Nothing Face, 40 Below Summer, Motograder, Shadows Fall, Meshuggah, and Fear Factory.
Where are these songs in the movie?
No idea. No idea. Also, if you watch the special features on the DVD, the only special feature to it is the song Suffocate by Motograder, that video. That's it.
There's nothing else to know.
Which is
about
just a super cut version of the movie with just a dude covered in red body paint screaming at the camera, which later went on, the guy that was the vocalist for Motograder, side story, whatever, right? Later went on to become the lead vocalist of Five Finger Death Punch. Not a band that I like or care for, but I did see Motograder when I was younger because they opened up for Ministry when I saw them in high school, and his voice like sticks out. So when fucking Five Finger Death Punch is showing up all the time, like on the radio, I'm just like, this motherfucker sounds familiar. So I had to like look it up. And I was like, oh, okay, it's that guy. Right on. Anyway, so this movie definitely is the reason for the influx, I would say, this and Freddy versus Jason, of just like, what IP can we get our hands on and try to make as many dollars as we can. And Marcus Nispel, well, this being his first movie he ever did, has a long history of directing, though. All of it music videos.
Oh.
Since like the late 80s, early 90s.
Dang.
Some of which are Spiderwebs by No Doubt.
Okay, so they're not even like metal.
The Fugees, Ready or Not.
Okay.
Gloria Estefan, Turn the Beat Around. And All for Ones, I Swear. And I Swear.
Oh my God. So they're not even like heavy or dark videos.
Nope.
It's
Not at all.
love songs and No Doubt.
Yeah, love songs and No Doubt. And the Fugees, Ready or Not, Here I Come, You Can't Hide.
Oh yeah, that one.
And then he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna direct this goddamn
All
Chainsaw
right.
Massacre film.
Talk about a pivot.
It's totally. I mean, I guess he made his money because he did later on make it's not Silver Dunes, it's called Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay's production company. He did later go on to do the remake of the Amityville Horror that comes out later, 2 years later, that we may be covering for Natasha's No Unsolicited Nick Pick March.
So this guy's essentially the early 2000s Mike Flanagan.
This is this is the other guy on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So it's Jordan Peele, Mike Flanagan, Ari Aster, and Marcus Nispel.
The guy that does the remake.
I guess, you know. So early on, Leatherface was considered to be played by Dolph Lundgren, and if you don't know that name, that's Ivan Drago from fucking Rocky. Was it 4?
Yep.
I will break him. So that's who they wanted to have play Leatherface. The role of Aaron, that is played by Jessica Biel, was considered for casting Kirsten Dunst, Katie Holmes, and Jessica Alba.
Okay.
Were some of the people that they came up with.
Not a fan of Kirsten Dunst doing it. That'd be strange.
Yeah, and actually, Leatherface in this film is played by 2 different people. Because the first time that you see Leatherface with like the iconic door scene, which is a remake of the original film, was played by Brett Wagner. He was cast as Leatherface and appears in the scene with a sledgehammer. However, he got heat stroke during the film and was replaced.
Oh, jeez.
So like he literally like collapsed on fucking set and everything. And then they brought in Andrew Bryniarski, I believe is how you pronounce it. And he ended up playing Leatherface through the rest of the film. So there's also some interesting little anachronisms, so things out of time in this film, right? It's
okay.
The movie is set August 18th, 1973, and it's this group of kids that are going to go see Leonard Skinner, and they're blaring Sweet Home Alabama, which didn't come out until June 24th, 1974.
God damn it.
And they're like super huge fans of Leonard Skinner. In fact, Leonard Skinner's first album was released 5 days before the date of this film.
Oh man. I've always wondered how production screws up something like that.
It's like such a huge plot point at the very beginning of it, of just like the tickets.
It's the setting of the movie.
Somebody, and I have a feeling Michael Bay, right? The producer was probably like, I want Sweet Home Alabama in this movie. I don't fucking care. I really have some deep-seated racism in me. I just need to get it out.
Change the date to make it fit.
Something, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. But yeah. So
5 days before.
And you would think Marcus, being a music video director forever, might have some sort of musical knowledge. I guess not. But
Michael Bay pulled rank on that one.
What's really funny, though, is as far as I saw, I don't believe the soundtrack has Sweet Home Alabama, but god damn it, it's got Meshuggah on it. So I fucking love Meshuggah, so there you go.
Makes no sense.
Neither does this movie, realistically.
I think it does.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. So also there's this takes place like at a slaughterhouse kind of thing, right? And the filmmakers could not afford as many fake cows as required for the slaughterhouse scenes, resulting in some of the cows on hooks being real. This was probably not the best experience for Jessica Biel, who is vegan.
Oh no, wait a second. So they couldn't afford enough fake cows, so they got real
So it's
carcasses.
real carcasses, like slaughterhouse carcasses that she's having to run around and bump
Oh.
into and everything.
Oh man.
And
I
something,
just assumed they were real.
that's what I just thought that,
But I guess I'm not vegan. So.
I figure the fucking food administration and everything would be completely cool with a bunch of people running around smacking into halves of cows.
All
They're
right,
like,
fair
you know
point.
what? We're gonna just sell this to McDonald's.
Oh. Yeah. Well, they looked real. That's because they were. All right.
Yeah, great special effects.
I mean, I guess that could pay homage to the original movie. I did read that some of the bones in the original movie were actual human bones.
Oh yeah, the whole
So it's
fucking
not as
the
bad as
special
that.
effects in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The special was that they weren't effects. Usually, it was just disgusting.
Oh my-
Like there's a whole scene in the original one that they don't even try to remake in this. That's a dinner table scene where our female protagonist is like tied down and the whole family's there and it's just like rotting food everywhere. And they said during production of that people were like almost suffering heat stroke because it was like 115 degrees in that room in
Oh,
like
damn.
August with the fucking film lights on and everything. People were like leaving it because of the scent of the rotting meat and everything, like throwing up outside between takes and stuff.
It was
because,
actual rotting meat.
yeah.
Fuck.
On a $140,000 budget, baby, you got to make do with what you got.
I guess.
So with this budget, instead of rotting meat, we got Motograder and Shadows Fall, Pantera.
That's where all the money went.
So to kind of give a little temperature of the water of the time outside of horror, this was like Bad Boys 2, Terminator 3, Chicago, so the musical Chicago. So I guess this is around the time that we're getting the musical boom of the late 90s, early 2000s that I forgot about, like Moulin Rouge and all that.
Oh, okay.
Elf came out this year.
Damn.
X-Men 2, Bruce Almighty, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. So you went to see that with me in theaters, I remember.
I did.
The Matrix Reloaded, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. So that was the original one. I went to the midnight showing of that, if I do remember. And Finding Nemo. So this was the year Finding Nemo came out. And
All
Texas
right.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Double feature for the ages. So this movie's been remade as of just like a couple years ago. They did like a legacy sequel that I watched for the first time earlier this year. It's not good. It's not good. I would actually say that there's only 2 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre films out of all of them that have been made.
Okay.
But I'm going to try my best to make a third one. So we're going to do our dream production of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So since this is your month and this is your pick for a film, I would love to hear what coming from Pot of the Dead Network's executive producer Natasha, 2026's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What we got?
Right.
What we got going on? Is there a lot of Shadows Fall and Pantera in this one as well?
No, because there's
Oh.
never Shadows Fall or Pantera in my life. And it can stay that way. I have playing Aaron.
Okay.
I have Nina Dobrev, who was in Flatliners. She was also in Degrassi.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh God, is this a Degrassi thing? Are you going
This
to
is
bring?
not a
Are you going to
Degrassi
bring
thing.
Drake in here?
no, I'm proud of myself that I didn't just take a cast from another movie and slap it into this one.
Who would do that? Who would do such a thing? Oh wait, I've done that multiple times.
Yeah. So I worked hard on this one. Kemper, which I just want to say that I hate that name.
Well,
I don't-
it's taken from Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer from like the 70s. They took that name and slapped it on here. It doesn't
Oh.
matter, but they just needed to do that, I guess.
All right. It doesn't fit as a first name. But anyway, I have Aaron Johnson playing Kemper, who is Kick-Ass from
Oh, okay.
Kick-Ass.
Let's
Give him in that part. Glasses.
Morgan.
Okay, thank you. None of these people other than Aaron and Kemper. I can remember their actual names.
Of the crew of like younger teen or whatever college students, whatever, I only cast 3 of them. I only casted Aaron, Kemper, and Morgan.
Oh, I did the entire fivesome plus the sheriff.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Morgan, glasses, is Finn Wolfhard, who's the curly haired guy
yeah.
from
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Yep.
Okay. I can see that.
The hitchhiker, I think her name is Pepper.
Yep.
In the movie, that is going to be played by Amy Lou Wood, who is I don't know if she's up and coming, but she's in a lot of things currently. She's in Toxic Town on Netflix, and she's also in the new season as the girlfriend in White Lotus with Walton Goggins.
Okay.
It's his girlfriend, so I really like her. And then the blonde guy, who's
Andy.
the asshole blonde guy, Andy, is going to be Evan Peters from American Horror Story. He's also the Silver Surfer. He played Tate in American Horror Story, and he is the Silver Surfer. I really like that guy. I feel like he could play an asshole. The sheriff is going to be Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Well, that's interesting because I've watched him play cops quite a bit.
Yeah. I had a hard time because I feel like the guy who plays the cop, I almost wouldn't want to recast him.
Arlie Ermy as Sheriff Hoyt is like top tier casting.
Yeah.
He's really, really good in that. He was the drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket and all that. He just embodies that like fuck you authority attitude.
Yeah.
So he does a great job.
All right, Nick, if this doesn't go through, what would yours be?
Well, hold on. Who do you have directing it? Do you have a director?
Oh, shit.
Did you forget a director?
I forgot a director. I was so taken by doing the cast.
I think it's going to be...
It's going to be Mike Flanagan.
Oh, is it going to be Mike Flanagan? I thought you were going to do your directorial debut. Produced
Mike
and
Flanagan
directed.
as the consul, and directorial debut by Natasha.
Okay, there it is. Right on, right on. I don't have that kind of ego to match. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, and you didn't even cast your Leatherface? Oh, shit.
No, because...
Are you Leatherface as well?
I just play all the other roles.
It's a one-man show. This is basically just Eddie Murphy and fucking the Nutty Professor.
You got to admit, that'd be pretty awesome. But no, Leatherface you don't really ever see his face, so it doesn't really matter who's playing him. Just
I beg to differ.
Tall guy.
I mean, would you want the guy from the
two.
new guy, the real scrawny guy playing Leatherface or anything like that? Or, or would you want some jacked motherfucker playing Leatherface?
It's some jacked motherfucker, but it also doesn't matter who that is as long as he's a jacked motherfucker.
Thank God I'm producing this film. So in Nicholas's dream production, Erin is going to be played by Samara Weaving. You may know her from Ready or Not. She was also in Azrael. She's like a more common like Scream queen. Did you ever see Scream 6? I think it was 6, the most recent one.
No, not the most recent one.
Okay. She's in a bit part, I believe, in the beginning of that. I think. I can't remember. I was hoping maybe to reach you on that, but she's in Ready or Not. She's really good.
Okay.
So, Scream Queen material for sure. Kemper, I'm going to have him played by Tom Holland, a.k.a. Spider-Man.
I almost picked him.
Did you?
He was very close in there. Yeah.
Morgan being like our kind of whiny, annoying person. And he was that way in the original one. I don't know. I can't remember if his name was Morgan or not, but there's a guy in a wheelchair in that movie and kind of played the same role. In this one, I'm going to have Jay Baruchel play it. So he's the voice of Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. He always plays like this nerdy guy. Like he does a really good job of that. So
that's a solid pick.
I think that he would play a really good part there. Sheriff Hoyt, no disrespect to Arlie Ermy, but with my take of it, I'm going to have Michael Shannon play it. So Michael Shannon, you may know him. Let me look it up real quick. He's actually a pretty well-known actor. And for some reason, I am drawing a fucking blank. Dead time, dead air. Tell the people what you think, Natasha, so far of my...
I really like it. Michael Shannon is from Take Shelter. I've recently seen him.
There you go. He's also The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
He was in The Bike Riders. He
I think he plays a cop in like the Waco remake, or not the remake, but like a Waco docuseries.
Okay.
That might be him.
But yeah, he always he's in Knives Out, Fahrenheit 451. He's Gary Nosner in the TV miniseries Waco.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Shannon. If you see him, you know him. Like he just has a very like striking face.
I can hear his voice when I see his face, but never knew his name.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's that voice that I wanted, you know. Our Leatherface is going to be right after he left WWE. We're going to have Dave Bautista play Leatherface, so you may know him as Drax, but just that back like it's that fucking monster of a dude with a mask. Fuck yeah. And we're gonna
casting Dave Bautista's back.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And then the director is going to be Fede Alvarez. He is most notably the director of Alien Romulus that just came out. He also did the 2013 remake of Evil Dead. So he has a penchant for making tension and spectacle. So it's one of those things. And I would just take the I guess the soundtrack from this film and just actually use it. So, but yeah,
man, I think those are pretty comparable movies. It'd be interesting to see who would win in a fight.
Oh, our business model is not going to be very good. We're going to produce two of the same films and just see what happens.
Right.
Double feature the same movies. It's the worst business model ever, but you know, it's all good. So, this was your pick. If this is, we're going to get ready to go into spoiler territory, unless you got anything else you want to talk about.
Let's do spoilers.
All right. So if this is your first time listening to us, welcome. We are a horror film club. And with that, at the end of every episode, we give out homework. And so at the end of the episode, we give out the movie for next week. And Natasha just sniffed in the microphone, is now dying in her seat. So we give out the movie so you can watch it and then hopefully come back next week and go along with us and not have to, you know, I don't want the movie spoiled or whatever, right? But from this point forward, we are going to talk openly about it. So sit back, you know, crack open a cold one, maybe rev that chainsaw a few times, and we're going to talk about 2003's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
If you'd like to be part of our horror film club, make sure to follow us at Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at Pod of the Dead. All of our episodes can be found at podofthedeadorelse.com or wherever you stream music and podcasts. If you have movie recommendations or questions for us, email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Or else.
All right. With all that being said, Natasha, considering this is your month, would you like to give me that 10 out of 10 review that I found online?
Sure would. 10 out of 10. They don't make them like this anymore.
Thank God.
Which I beg to differ, considering I think this remake has also been remade at some point.
I have no idea. Like, this is one of those movies that they won't leave well enough. Just keep making them, I guess.
Yeah. For a slasher horror movie, it has everything. Group of friends, check. Iconic killer, check. Interesting kills, creepy atmosphere, and jump scares. Plus, there's great cinematography, the acting is good, and it doesn't look cheap. I think it's very underrated. People are expecting Oscar-worthy movie for a slasher. It isn't, and it isn't trying to be. Along with Wrong Turn, Jeepers Creepers, it's a classic slasher horror movie of the early 2000s. I remember watching these and many other horrors in the early 2000s with friends, renting DVD movies all summer and watching together. It was so much fun. Unlike movies of today, neither better nor worse, that recognizable vibe of the movies 15 to 20 years ago is lost, but not forgotten.
Yeah. There was something that the reviewer brought up that I don't know if I agree with, and I'm interested if you do.
Mm-hmm.
It says like memorable kills or interesting kills or something to that state. Do you feel that way about that? Like, because I understand that as being something that draws people. Do you feel that way about this movie?
No, I don't
Okay.
think there are interesting kills aside from the van and
Yes.
that cinematography. But other than that, I think it's a pretty like run of the mill, you know what's going to happen slasher movie.
Yeah. It definitely could also, like, I think this movie's like a hour 38.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could probably cut it down a little bit even, and that would probably tighten it up because there's a lot of like just meandering around and stuff. But you know.
A lot of running through the woods, and you clearly can't tell that the woods matches the actual time of day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of inconsistencies here and there, you know. But I do agree with the fact of we're not looking for Oscar movies and stuff like that. I get that. And
Mm-hmm.
I went into this with a score because I'd seen it before like a few times. But I thought I would be more on board with it than I ended up being by the end of it. But it is definitely one of those things of my nostalgia was lost on this film. Like I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. I remember digging this. I'll go back to the 70s and watch the original.
This is one where I still enjoy yelling at the screen for the people doing things that they're doing.
So you're that invested into this movie that you're
Yeah.
like, no, fucking run, bitch, run.
Yeah. Why didn't you grab the chainsaw?
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
a big one. Yeah, that's how I watch this movie. And I don't know if that'll ever change.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like previously I said that there's only 2 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and that's, in my opinion, that's the original one, and then the second one that came out in the 80s, which is like really campy. It's super over the top and like kind of funny, and it's meant to be and it's still directed by Tobe Hooper, the original director. And he was like, well, I'm not going to try and do the same thing. So I'm going to do something even crazy in a different direction. And that movie, I love that movie because it's so weird. But it's not this. And this is straight up like I said, high school. Like I remember like all the films had this feel to it back then. It's very nu metal, very edgy, you know, lots of Jinko jeans. Well, this would have been after Jinko was popular, but like that kind of vibe, right? Lots of that going on. But all right, let's see this 1 out of 10 you sent me. I don't think I'd give it a 1 out of 10, but let's see how much I agree with these people. Piece of garbage. I agree. Yeah. This is in my top 10 worst horror movies of all time. Settle down there, sport. The original had style, grace, and wit, even though the acting was amateurish. I agree. This movie, this is me talking. This movie had overacting. Like, I don't think that the acting was good. I think it was over the top. Like, I would like to cite stomach stabbing scene in the basement and just crying as the blood comes down on her and stuff.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Also, if I'm going to kill somebody, a mercy killing, the last thing I'm going to do is stab them in the gut.
I thought the same thing. Like you probably, aside from like slitting their
just
ankles,
cut his throat. Just cut his throat. Get up on the piano and cut his throat. Like a man. But this travesty has so-called professional actors who are actually worse than those in the first movie.
Oh boy, here comes Karen.
The level of sadism and violence is on par with the later editions of Friday the 13th. So that's something that I do agree with, because slashers get more violent as slashers come out, because the point of the slasher is tension and violence for the most part. Yeah. Right? So 1974, when the original one came out, there were no Friday the 13th. There were no Halloween. There, like, none of that stuff. This is like, before all that, and then to be like, oh, it's so much more violent than the original one. It's like, well, I mean, if you put out the 1974 like shot for shot now, people would be like, man, that's fucking lame. I'm going to go watch Freddy versus Jason, right? And you're trying to make money, so. Let's see here. The original left almost everything to the imagination. There are virtually no shots of flesh being pierced. Audiences left the theater traumatized, but also with a sense of exhilaration, largely due to Sally Hardett's triumphant, life-affirming escape. I never thought I'd say it, but this version of Texas Chainsaw sucked worse than the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Whoa. The remake of Night of the Living Dead is pretty fucking rad. One walks away from it feeling dirty and repulsed. Okay, hold on. The original one makes people leave feeling dirty and repulsed. So I don't know what they're fucking trying to get at, other than they didn't like it.
And I'm not sure if they didn't like it because it wasn't gory enough, or they seem to go back and forth between the reasoning for and against it.
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying, was like the original one's not gory. It's just everything else about it's gross. It just feels gross, right? Gross. And it feels sweaty and it feels dirty. This one doesn't. This one feels very polished, except for when people have really bad prosthetic teeth in, i.e. the kid. And they're like trying to make it seem grimy, but at the end of the day, that's what they did like the color grading for instead of actually making it. It just felt really clean. It felt like a Hollywood horror film.
And I don't see that. And it's probably because I don't have a frame of reference
100%.
To the original. But this feels dirty. This feels gross. This feels brown. This feels like The Hills Have Eyes.
Whoa. What's wrong with brown?
It feels gross and dirty.
You're talking about my last name. Let's just point that out.
I know what I was doing. Well,
the listeners might think that you're referencing something else, and I don't want emails about you being a racist again.
Jesus Christ, Nick.
I mean, well, the movie's in Texas, so I mean,
the movie's brown. You said it has a green hue. I feel that it has like this dirty sepia tone to everything.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I thought, and maybe it's because it's almost like instead of the original maybe being like saturated, this in film, this one is so overexposed to where like the darks seem really dark, and the bright seems really bright, but it's all in that dirty color grading.
Yeah,
I personally think it did really well. That part is one of my favorite parts of the movie because it's all gross.
Well, see, and that's the thing is like this is where there's no accounting for taste, right? Like your taste and my taste are different because there are certain things in this film that are glaring for me that I just have a problem with, and it's like the color grading and stuff. It's like it doesn't. That's the thing that's supposed to make it feel dirty, and like it just feels like, well, you could have just like slapped some more mud on, because there are things that like when the guy's in the bathroom like clearing his colostomy bag and stuff, it's like
disgusting.
Okay, that's gross, but like the people like aren't like, it's Texas in the summer. It should be like sweaty and you don't feel that. It just feels like a normal nice day. So.
I don't know. It came across because he's like covered in dirt. The little boy, everyone's covered in a layer of dirt and dust.
I don't know.
Are you telling me that the gas station with the rotting meat isn't gross?
Well, this is the thing. It doesn't look like rotting meat. It's a pig's head with some flies on it, but it doesn't look rotting.
But the glass is covered in dirt. Like,
I know, but this is what I'm talking. Like, it's the facade of filth against real filth. So that's the thing of like the original one. It's just actually really fucking filthy and disgusting. So, and this is what we're talking about. It's like you don't have that frame of reference, which I'm not going to dog on you about, but this is why you think this movie's good. You're saying, well, it just feels gross. It's like, then watch the original one, because you think this is repulsive. You have no idea of like how gross, and like the film. This is not me trying to be an elitist, but if that's a thing to hang your hat on, is that this film feels gross to you, watch the original one, and then come back to me and tell me what you think. Because I mean, if you're like, nah, it just doesn't feel it, I'd rather this. It's like, okay, that's your opinion, right? But you don't have that frame of reference, so I find it so fucking comical that you're like, this film's so gross, it just feels gross. I'm like, I just felt like this was a Transformers film with a chainsaw. Like, I was waiting for Leatherface to be like, and like turn into a fucking like a snow cone machine or something and just drive off. So it is what it is. But yeah, so like, you've got your standard thing, kids driving in their van, chick blows her brains out. That is a very cool shot. Like, I'll 100% tip my hat to that. The girl blows her brains out. The camera is like focused on them, pulls through her head as her head falls back. Like, it's a really cool out the back of the window. That's phenomenal. Like, I wish there was more of that, I guess. But then the other thing that just is, I hate this in films for the most part. Anytime that you're supposed to be sitting in tension like that, the music is just like, bah, da, da, scary tension. And I fucking hate that. Like, it instantly takes me out of it, because I'm like, I'm allowed to like react. You don't have to react for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't remember the music in this movie at all.
Really?
Yeah. Oddly enough. Because usually I feel like I have the same reaction of, I don't need the like hurt when stuff's supposed to be scary. I like it when it's quiet, but I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, this movie I think would have been a lot better without a soundtrack, or just use the heavy metal soundtrack.
Use the soundtrack that it was supposed to have.
Dun, 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 every 5 seconds. But yeah, those are like a couple big things for me on this. So like, yeah, she blows her brains out. They're driving around trying to get rid of this body so they can go see Skinnerd. Yeah. And they just kind of get roped up into going out to the Hoyt house, which the fucking house out in the middle of nowhere looks fucking great. I do like, there's a lot about this film to applaud. There's really cool looking set pieces. Like I said, like the whole van encounter, right? The house set up pretty cool. How imposing they made the metal door in this film is cool, because it's so much bigger than it is in the original. In the original, it's like a legitimate metal sliding door and everything. This, they make it like, I don't want to say comically large, but it's like a caricature. It's just an over the top sized one with like the peeping eye hole stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, I thought that worked.
Making it the whole wall, I think, was neat.
Yeah.
So then she's like leaning up against, quote, wall, and you're not even realizing that it's a giant door.
Yeah. Her boyfriend gets abruptly hit with a sledgehammer and drug into the fucking door area. And these are my problems with this film, is so far at this point. Okay, so the things that it does well are things that it did by itself. The person killing themselves in the van, that was not in the original one. They did pick up like a hitchhiker guy that, he's fucking weird and they let him go or whatever. Okay. So that was pretty cool. The sledgehammer scene to the sliding door and all that, they did that in the original one, and it's so much fucking creepier than this. And it's because there's no music. It's just that sliding of the door and just the muscle of Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface in the original one. And it just doesn't have that like brutishness of Leatherface. Leatherface looks cool in this film. Like, I'm not saying like he looks like shitty or anything like that, but he doesn't feel imposing for his size. Like, for him being as big as he is, there's so much like weird ghost face-ness with him in the sense of like he's always dropping his chainsaw and always doing like he's always
Okay.
nonstop doing that. And I never once feel like when he gets his hands on somebody that they're actually done for, because there's so many times that they're like just crawling away and blocking him with the fucking thing, like the tire iron and shit like that. Now that was cool when he's running through the fucking the clothes that are washed or whatever, and he gets his fucking leg lopped off with it. I thought that was cool. Again, that wasn't done in the original one. They did it in this one and it worked. It's a lot of that kind of stuff that like when they were trying to, hey, we're going to do this thing, it just didn't work out for me. The hanging of the body down in the basement, you get that scene in the original one. So it's shot way different, actually. It's not down in the basement or whatever. This one just, it doesn't, I don't believe that he's hanging on a hook, where the girl in the first one, when that, or the guy in the, whatever, the person in the first one that happens to and stuff, I feel it. I just like feel it. In this one, I don't. Like, he's like trying to pull himself. There's no fucking way you're going to do any of that stuff. Like, you are basically going to be up there like, instead of like, you gotta save me.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's like when they're overacting and underacting simultaneously in some cases.
Yeah, it's all over the board. Like, and that paired with just bam, bam, bam. I'm just like, am I high? Should I be high? Like, what's going on?
So the music, the score is leading how you're supposed to feel and not the way that people are acting.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It feels very Michael Bay. Like, I guess is the best way to put it. It's very like, guys, this is crazy. And like, I'm just not buying into it. So,
I stand by this movie.
Well, then tell me why.
Of course, there are things that I didn't like, but I don't have a frame. Like, I think a lot of it is, this is my movie. So you're picking out things from the original that you didn't like how they were done this time. And watching that, the bludgeoning the first time around, that was really shocking because you kind of see, I think right before that, you see him kind of pass in the distance and then you don't see it happening and you don't expect it to happen until it happens. You already knew it was most likely going to happen.
Yeah, and it makes sense why you really like this movie. There's a head smashing scene.
There's a difference between head smashing and then bludgeoning. This was a bludgeon.
I don't know. This sounds like, I don't want a frog, but frogging's cool. Like, that's what you're doing right now. There's a difference between bludgeoning someone's head with it didn't splatter.
It didn't. It was just a blunt force trauma and away we go.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
And the first time I watched it, I didn't realize that he was wearing Kemper's face. So I had to go back because I can't remember what happened, but I know like the crowd that I was with like lost their minds and I was like, what happened? What was going on? So they had to replay it. So I didn't get that initial, holy shit.
Yeah, that is a cool scene.
That is a very cool scene. Was that one that was in the original?
Nope.
There's literally nothing about this movie from the original that you like in this one then.
No, because like that's nuts. Yeah, it's not a conscious thing. It's just one of those things that like it's trying to like, this happened in that film. I think it would have been better if it just did its own thing. If it stopped trying to remake, but it was of the time, but like stop trying to remake, like, oh, they did this, so we got to do that. No, just fucking do your own thing and stop with the music. And it probably would have been better in my book.
Gotcha. The guy losing his fingers or fingernails was also like a visceral response to me. No matter what movie it's in or what the context is, if a guy's getting his fingernail ripped off, that's going to make me cringe.
See,
so in this movie...
And I usually have that reaction to this stuff. It doesn't do it to me in this one because you already know it's going to happen. They show you that at the beginning. It's like, oh, we got some scratches here. What is that? Hair and a fingernail? So I already know it's like, oh, we're going to get fingernail trauma in here.
It's still gross.
I guess.
I really liked, speaking about the very beginning, I liked how they started it.
Oh, yeah. It works really good. I like how they kind of cap it where it's like, this was the crime scene investigation and stuff.
Yeah.
Which they kind of...
we're living it out.
Yeah. Which we kind of get like a little bit in the original one and everything, where it's like the story that's about to be told is based on true, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's cool. I like that. Like, this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like the film that started that in a way where it's like, so did this really happen? And it's like the idea of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is loosely based on Ed Gein,
Yep.
who I believe was from Wisconsin, so not Texas. But the idea of like making furniture out of human remains and all that kind of stuff was like the catalyst of the creation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But they also, the family in the original one's smaller, in this one they blew it up, and I did like that. I like the fact that like she thinks she's safe when she gets to the trailer and everything.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite scenes, other than her getting drugged and overacting the fuck out of it, like she's never fucking had a drink of anything. It's like, so this is how you act when you're
Yeah.
But like everything else, like I like the heavyset lady and the younger like cropped haircut girl and everything. Like, oh no, it's okay, blah blah blah. Like this, like I like that. Wasn't in the original. Like
Jesus Christ.
But at the same time, it's like I like that, but like the scene just kind of goes on and on and on, and the music keeps trying to tell you like we're tense here, and I'm like, just stop it.
Quit telling me how to feel so I can actually feel it.
I mean, it's kind of my same argument with like the jump scare stuff, like which it doesn't really do in this movie or anything. I mean, it has a couple, but like that's always a thing that I have a problem with. It's like you didn't jump because what you saw was scary, you jumped because everything got real loud all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And like I hate it when films do that, where they lean too much on the music to elicit responses. It's very similar to like a sitcom having a laugh track, where it's like, you know, have you ever seen any of those videos of Friends but with the laugh track cut out? Ross looks like a serial killer.
Oh wow.
He just says all this stuff and people just stare at him and there's no laughter. It's a lot better that way.
You get the true vibe of Ross.
Yes.
Not the awkward, let's giggle so he doesn't murder us.
Yeah. So let's go into like some pros and cons of the movie. So I want to ask you, what would you consider the cons of the film? We'll start with the bad and we'll end with the good.
Okay. I didn't like I mentioned it a second ago, the woods aspect of it. I know that's kind of like a silly thing to point out, but that part seemed very disjointed to all of the rest of the movie. Having to walk through the woods to get to this other house, but that woods doesn't match the time of day, or it just seems very out of place. And I think that was really bad writing for the two of them to walk through the woods like that. And it really bothers me because then I think at one point she's running through the woods.
Yes.
And it just seems like she's in this like fantastical.
It's like, because of the light beaming and stuff, like the moonlight beaming, which is similar to like when they're in a house or like the slaughterhouse or something later. There's a lot of that light beaming through the rafters and stuff.
I hate it. It seems like a centaur just needs to pop out and save her at some point. That part that doesn't match at all. Really big con.
Okay. Well, I'm here for the centaur versus Leatherface fight.
Honestly, that's my biggest one. I didn't like Erin really as a character.
No.
To begin with. And the writing with her being in a white tank top goes back to previous episodes where we already know right at the beginning that she's going to be the final girl. Why? Because she's in a white tank top. Because
it shows blood better.
Exactly. It shows blood better. And let's talk about the rain scene and why it's so wet in the basement. I purely believe it's just so you can see Jessica Biel's nipples.
Well, she's wearing a bra, isn't she?
No.
Oh. I was watching a DVD copy. I guess I didn't have the high def version. I was like, why are we doing a wet t-shirt contest if she's wearing a bra? You got nips on your version?
I did, and I didn't appreciate it. There's no need. There's no need.
Well, I mean, if you're going to make them wet, you got to see them. Like, so there is need. Like,
but why couldn't she just wear like, I don't know, a standard shirt?
Because it's Texas in the 70s.
Why does it have to randomly be raining for that one scene?
Because emotion.
Oh, that's right. The movie's telling us how we're supposed to feel, not actually feeling it.
Because emotion. It's why all the R&B singers are out crying in the rain during their music videos. Realistically, I didn't even think of that. That's why.
Yeah,
This guy
that's fair.
directed a bunch of music videos, like, and I swear, all right, now, Jessica Biel, we need you to go out here and just scream in the rain or whatever. Like,
We need to have a spotlight all the way up the top, shining down on you, giant raindrops,
yes.
and action. Yeah, I didn't like that, but those are really the only two glaring things. Like, there's some writing in the movie that irritates me, but it's almost endearing.
Okay.
Like I said, at the end when she's like saved Morgan, really basically when she gets to the basement, from that point on, I don't really care for the movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the like chase sequence, but that's kind of me in a lot of movies. When it gets to that point, I'm starting to get checked out and I just want it to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because the evasion kind of takes too long in most cases. I really liked when she was hiding from Leatherface, but that goes back to, then it jumps to a huge con of Leatherface is going after Morgan. And instead of grabbing the chainsaw that has fallen on the ground, she just starts slapping him and then runs away. Like,
Yes.
you have a chance to save your friend. So that's where I'm screaming at the screen because that was irritating.
So that scene, I believe what you're talking about, like where they hang Morgan up by the handcuffs, right?
Yeah.
Where Leatherface hangs him up,
Yep.
and then goes up his crotch and everything. They
Yeah,
actually
it
cut that scene down a lot because it was going to get an NC-17 because like that scene shows a lot more and like his guts fall out and everything.
Oh shit.
And I knew, like, I did my research before rewatching it, because I'd already seen it, so it wasn't going to ruin anything, right? But I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't even really remember that scene much. And then I watched it, and yeah, they cut away super fucking hard in that scene. It's like, "Rrr," and then we're just out of the room. And I was
Right.
like, oh, wow. Okay, that's weird. So, but yeah. Is that your cons list?
Those are really all of my cons. I'm sure your list is much longer.
Well, it's not that it's much longer. I've already kind of talked about it, but bad overacting, over the top Hollywood score. Even though it's bloodier than the original, it doesn't feel as grimy. And the green color grading, aka the 2000s in horror, baby. Like, those are the things, like, in this movie. I was so checked out by the end of this film that, like, when you're talking about, like, oh, by this scene, you know, if I'm now getting checked out, it's like, I completely, like, we didn't even talk about baby rescue, like, completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of forget about it. She's like running over Sheriff Hoyt, and then you just cut over to a smiling baby. And just like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing here. Redemption arc. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And I just wonder, like, she's a college student. What's she going to do with this baby? Is she keeping the baby? Is she raising the baby?
Maybe she's
What's happening there?
maybe she's going to raise the baby for a little bit, and then that baby's going to start screaming about Silent Hill, and then they got to go to Silent Hill because they found the baby, and like, isn't that kind of the whole? Maybe this Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a prequel to Silent Hill. I don't know. So, all right, what kind of pros do you have for this?
I really liked the color. I liked the grime. And I'll say that every time about this movie.
All right. Fair.
I thought it was cool how they showed like the car graveyard of how many other victims that they've had with all of the teeth and those little like trinket bits.
Yeah.
I like when movies do that. Like, it's not an exposition dump, but they just stumble upon, like, we're not the first and we're not going to be the last. You're just going to be a part of this cycle. I really liked that. The family was so creepy. I find them a lot. Okay, so Leatherface is obviously the bad guy, but his family is disgusting and just as scary.
Real quick, this is the only movie in all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres that you actually see Leatherface's face, which is something to bring up. Like, you never see it ever in any film, and then you see him take his mask off. He's like missing the nose and everything. Mm-hmm. They say it's a skin condition or whatever. But
we don't even see it in Leatherface, or are you not counting that one?
I'm not sure. I think I've seen that. Maybe I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember.
That one came out I want to say maybe the 2010s.
Okay.
And
you
it's
remember
like
seeing his face?
I feel like I do.
Like,
but it might have
face,
very well just
like
been a face on top of a face.
True. Because like in the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out a year or two ago, you see like hair hanging down in like his eye kind of
Okay.
thing. You never actually see his face.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of shocking, like when you see him pull it off and it's just like nose missing kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
continue.
There's something really creepy about the entire family being involved, and like this is normal. So how you mentioned how the family's large and it's kind of spread out, I think that's really cool because you have this feeling of complete hopelessness. Like anyone that you run into in this town is going to be against you.
Yeah, it's like a compound almost.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're shit out of luck. So those are the main bits that I really liked. The kills were okay. Like it's just kind of part of the movie. It wasn't really jarring or super exciting. There are so many bits that are just like textbook slasher movie. This is the one for me.
Yeah, this is very popcorn, very popcorn slasher. And I'll give it this, like it's not like a PG-13 slasher, doesn't pull away all the time or anything like that. So it gets like some marks for that, right?
Yeah.
So another mark that I'll give it is it literally has the line, the road don't go there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always there for that. All right, cool. Oh, we're going to unmapped territory. Delightful. Everything
Right.
that always works well.
And the boyfriend's just going to let her walk into this creepy ass guy's house and he's going to be cool with it.
It was the 70s, baby.
There's so many things like that. Like this is the movie that makes those tropes exist. Don't go into the house by yourself.
Well,
don't go into the woods. You don't do all of these things.
That's like, it's just leaning on the tropes that existed in the 80s. This is just like they had a box of tropes and just poured it out and we're just like, all right, let's piece this thing together and smack a Leatherface on it. We'll be okay.
Yeah. And I don't mean the 2003 version of this movie.
Oh.
I mean the original. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the reason
for the season.
For so many ingrained
Yes.
fears, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, you have to go watch the original one like tonight. Like just to really like and weirdly, okay, you can let Wyatt watch it. It's so much more like inferred violence and stuff. You don't see what you think you see. It's one of those movies that like I didn't realize that until I saw like some like article about it. I was like, no, go back and rewatch it. I'm like, oh shit, you really don't see a lot. Like it's so much like it's a lot of that like here's the hook, here's somebody, and now we're just gonna like kind of what's happening, but you're not watching it go in. You're not watching this kind of stuff. So it should totally be your bag in that sense where your brain's going to make it far more worse than what you're actually seeing. But other pros I've got, Leatherface looks cool. I'll give him that. Arlie Ermy as Sheriff Hoyt is amazing casting. And it was only an hour and a half long. That's about all I got.
And I think the sheriff parts were funny.
Even though it is disgusting.
Right. When they're wrapping the body and throwing it in originally the back seat.
Yeah. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like
you can't help but laugh.
Oh my God. So were you laughing when he's like talking about like, yeah, I used to do this and used to cop a feel every once in a while. And all. Were you laughing about that? Were you laughing about where he's like, oh, she's wet down here, boys? What
that was disgusting.
You said you thought everything he said was funny.
I thought the corpse bit was funny.
That's the corpse bit.
The wrapping up of that part, no, I didn't. It was so cringy and so gross. I didn't find that part funny. I found the tossing of the like desecrating the body in the back seat or to the trunk. Don't break my shit.
Yeah, don't break my shit. Yeah, so all right. You ready to get into scores?
Sure.
All right. So you're going to start, and I'm going to guess that you're giving this solely based on nostalgia and all this stuff. I think you're going to give it like a 7.
I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Are you fucking serious?
No.
You're not serious?
Or yes, I'm serious.
Oh
I'm not
my
joking.
God. An 8.5.
An 8.5.
What? This is...
There are no rules. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to tell people to watch it. This is like you said, nostalgia factor because it has bad parts, but those bad parts are comically endearing.
True.
Her stabbing him in the stomach and going, "Ah!" I can't help but laugh at that.
Okay. I can get on board with all
And
that.
there are so many bits where like Drew and I would be talking about it as we were watching it the other night and just laughing about it. It's a good time movie.
Well, no, that's fair. That's fair. I watched it by myself. Like, yeah, I can see this being a lot more enjoyable. Like, I don't know if I've ever watched it by myself. So 8.5.
An 8.5.
Holy shit. I can't. Okay, right on.
You're going to give this movie a 5.5.
I'm giving this movie a 4.
Ouch.
I do not plan on watching this ever again.
Okay.
There are some good bits to it, but I don't think that I'm going to watch this ever again. This is my farewell to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I do agree. I would suggest this to all the kids in my house and everything. I mean, Wesley's seen far more fucked up things than this. He watched Dead Alive, so.
I'm not giggling about. I'm just like, I would refer it to my friends, and you would refer it to the kids.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. Is like I feel that, and by no means is this supposed to be gatekeepy or anything like that. I feel if you don't have so much to pull from when it comes to slashers and the like, this is probably more of an enjoyable film. Slashers are like, there's always that, who's your favorite slasher? Who's your, like all that kind of stuff. And it just, this one's not for me. Like I said, the first 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are my Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. Everything past that, I'm pretty sure I've watched them all. And it's like that, like trying to like, maybe this one,
Gotcha.
I'm like a battered spouse to Texas Chainsaw. I was like, well, maybe this time it'll be good. And then it just whoops my ass again. And I'm like, I'm sorry, the meatloaf was dry. But yeah, it just was not. I went into this like, it's probably like a 6. It's probably like, it could surprise me, but nah, 4 is what I'm giving it.
Okay.
And IMDb kind of splits us. You're in the 8s, I'm in the 4s, and IMDb gives it a 6.2. So I think that's going to end us out with like a 66.
A 62.
62. So you'll more than likely like this film.
Yeah.
Like I fairly am certain about that. It's just not my thing. And I don't know. I'm interested to see how the rest of this month goes with that. So considering that
Man.
the next movie we're gonna watch, do you just want to double down? Do you just want to go to the next one from this era, or do you want to go to the newer one?
I like splitting it like that.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we go right to the next one that I have planned, it's going to, because of this movie, it could skew that movie because I've already watched something from that era,
Okay. So for next week, for homework, we're going to be watching Nosferatu from 2024.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock, I believe it is, and everything. And it's like the extended cut. So I'm interested to see how long it is. I did see that. And if they have a normal cut, that's not the extended cut, we'll watch that one for the podcast. I will watch the extended one for myself. I've already seen it. I saw it Christmas Day, first viewing that it was available. And it was my birthday and I want to see some vampires. So that's what we will be doing.
It says it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. So whatever that is in relation to the original.
That seems about right. Like the original one was around 2 hours. So it'd be interesting to see. So, all right. For Pot of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
And I am Natasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.